Today I will tell you about the Spotify Product Management Framework and designers in real life. And this speech will be based on my experience. First of all, a couple of words about me. I'm a lead experience designer in IPM Lviv, in Ukraine location, and I'm mostly interested in user research and investigations. And I also believe that design is not about art and visual itself, but about the meaning and the solving problems. So my goals today are to share my experience of working for this startup inside the enterprise. That's very interesting and exciting, by the way. Also, I want to motivate you not to be afraid adjusting existing approaches to the realities of your project. Nevertheless, it may look frustrating and scary. Okay, so today we will be talking about tribes, chapters, and stuff. So this is the theory of the Spotify product management framework or approach. After that, we will be talking about the question: should designers be a separate squad or team? What to do if there is no business analyst? We will be talking about the product owner designer relationship, and also we will cover some lessons I learned after this project. So the story behind this presentation is a couple of months ago, I was working in the consultancy and we were collaborating with one huge Germany company. And we were working on some kind of startup inside the enterprise. And we had five different teams, five different tribes. I will elaborate on what tribe means. And also we were working on B2B part of the system of this huge startup. And the other company, the other team was working on B2C part of this huge marketplace, huge startup. So my part of the project called Vendor Portal, and we were working by Spotify Product Management Framework. We had one legacy system and we had to adopt some part of the functionality from this system. We had 5 product tribes. It's like teams. 2 within 5 product owners were from customer side. Also, product owner in my tribe also was from customer side. We had 1 lead designer, but no design process yet. That was at the moment I came to the project. We didn't have any business analysts. We had scrum masters, aka secretaries. Why? Because I guess I will elaborate on that later. And we had 5 months till MVP. So I joined the project in the mid of April, and I knew that we had to launch our MVP at the 1st of September. That has to be like a huge launch. But after some time I spent on the project, it turns out that first MVP, like pre-MVP, which still will be accessible by our vendors, had to be launched in the mid of June, which was really surprising. So I was like that funny dog when I joined this project, because I didn't know what should be in MVP, how to validate our ideas, who was the decision maker, what should I do as a designer, or what is Spotify product management in general, where is BAs, what are the expectations of our customer, who are our users, and a lot of different questions which I wanted to get answers to, but it was what it was. First of all, very simple question, but I guess still important for those who don't know what is Spotify and why did we use it. We use Spotify a product management framework because that was our customers' request. Well, in general, what is Spotify product management framework? So this is the autonomous framework for scaling agile, and the foundation of the Spotify product management framework is a squad. This is a small team. Squad may have from 6 to 12 teammates, and this squad or team acts like a Scrum team. They may have their Scrum Master, or in some literature, or they call the Scrum Masters as Agile coaches. So in general, Spotify product management framework is a simplified Scrum. I will tell you why. So the team composition in Spotify looks like that. They have squads, they have tribes, they have chapters, they have guilds, and trio and chief architect. So what is squad, or what is the small team? The squad is the small cross-functional self-organized team which has end-to-end responsibilities. They also have autonomy to decide what to build, how to build, and how to work together while building it. The squad has autonomy on choosing what framework they want to use. Either it will be Scrum, Kanban, Scrumban, whatever. In general, Spotify product management framework focuses around doing work, but not focuses on doing, let's say, Scrum. Do it like Scrum says, do it like Kanban says, whatever. You have to just do it. Yeah, and what is important also that one squad, I will again repeat it, that one squad should have from 6 to 5 teammates, and one squad has to be located in the same room. So this squad could communicate with these teammates, could communicate with each other like during the day, during their work. And usually squad is a team, cross-functional team who works on one feature area. For example, a squad may work on player, something like that. So they have one feature area. A couple of squads that work in one feature area compose a tribe. So tribe is a collection of squads grouped by common business focus. Yeah, for example, a group of squads working on the mobile view of the music player. The main goal of the tribe is to minimize dependencies. And the tribe usually has the same mission for all squads. So the smallest group is squad, then we have tribe, then we have chapter. Chapter, we may have UX design chapter, may have QA chapter, front-end chapter, and something like that. Chapter is a group of teammates with the same specialization. The main goal of creating chapters is to share knowledge and to ensure tribe activities transparency. So all chapters, all squads will adopt the same approach, for example, for the QA activities in the whole project. Also, the main goal of one of the goals for the chapter is keeping consistency through major processes organization. And what is important, every chapter has its lead. Usually it's the most senior teammate. And the guild, it's like a non-formal group of people who are interested in some set of skills. For example, we may have guild who is interested in doing A/B testing. And in this guild, we may have QA specialist, front-end developer, back-end developer, product owner, whatever. So this is like a non-formal group. This is a small visualization, so you could just understand what is the main parts of the team in the Spotify framework. So we have tribe, we had 5 tribes, we had squads, and the chapters. Yeah, in our team composition, in my project that I'm talking about, we had tribes and chapters, so we didn't have squads. So the process, the development process, the product development process in Spotify is think it, build it, ship it, and tweak it. So they encourage, even in Spotify, they even encourage doing mistakes, because this is the easiest way to check something. You do something, you deliver it, you make mistake, it's okay. You make an update and you check all your assumptions, you check all your hypotheses on the way. Okay, so speaking about Spotify product management framework, they believe that autonomous teams go faster. Their main values are autonomy and trust. So first of all, they believe that autonomous teams go faster, but autonomy still needs communication. Speaking about communication, you may think that since we had this really autonomous team, we had a lot of meetings, but no. We had design daily, we had tribe daily. On this tribe daily, we discussed all the features, all the tasks we had today. So something like daily meeting, I believe everyone has. We had usual Scrum activities like planning, retro sprint demo, and show and tell. Okay. Also, to have autonomy, the team, the product needs to have this transparency. Transparency and autonomy needs context. We have to know what we are working on right now. And what is the most important here, that autonomy needs trust. And to trust someone, you need to know that this person, this team, is aligned with you, with your values, with what you're working on right now and what you want to do. So speaking about Spotify, they believe that context plus trust minus dependencies is a decisions ownership, which is very important when we are working on startup company. So in Spotify, as I already mentioned, they believe in autonomy and alignment. So in Spotify, they have high autonomy and high alignment, which is really great situation in a project and in a team. This is fantastic, and it leads to the situation where leader has to set a goal and communicate it to the team, but still team decides how to do this, how to achieve this goal, how to develop this feature, how to make, how to achieve this KPI, something like that. There is other situation when team may have low autonomy but still high alignment. So this is kind of the hell of the micromanagement, when a leader tells you what to do but still tells you how to do this. In this situation, you don't really have a lot of wiggle room, let's say, to express yourself. Also, you may have in your team, you may have high autonomy, but still low alignment. And this is the situation when the leader doesn't know what team is doing right now. Sorry. And also, you may have low autonomy and low alignment. This is really fun when you can do whatever you want, but this is not really productive. And it turns out that we were in this situation 3 months before launch. And of course, we had to change it. At least I thought that we had to change it, and I wanted to change it. And how we changed it, very nice answer to this question. Designers changed it, and I'm really proud about that. Here I will tell you about my first on-site on this project. When I just came to the customer's office, they presented me the product. We make acquaintance with the customer, and it seems like that they had a lot of expectations regarding my position, regarding the position of the designer. So my main goal of my on-site was that we need to model process of interaction between B2B and B2C system. Again, I'll repeat that we were working on B2B system, part of the system, and the other company was working on the B2B B2C, sorry, part of the system. And we knew that at some point of time we had to integrate with each other. And also that was 3 months before launch, and not all business processes were clear at that point of time. Also, the head of the product told me that I'm a UXer. I had to think about users. Also, the huge problem was that we had to outline product owners' responsibilities, because that was a situation when we gathered in one room, and for the workshop we had to outline like the flow of doing something. And it turned out that one product owner thought that he or she has to develop this feature, and at the same time the other product owner who was responsible for completely different functionality just told us, but I'm already developing this feature. And they started arguing and all this not really pleasant stuff. Also, we had to understand manual and automated processes, and ideally that we had to define features for MVP. That was really important because that was 3 months before launch, but we still didn't know what we will have for the MVP. And we had no chance to change the MVP date. That was really very important also. What helps us, at least what I thought could help us, and like a quick spoiler, it helped us. I remembered about one very useful artifact called service blueprint. So on your screen right now, you could see the basic template that Nielsen Norman Group recommends us to do. So in general, service blueprint is an artifact that helps to visualize all the processes that happens in the service. So in general, we were also working on a service. So I decided to take some basics from this artifact and tried to adjust this approach, this artifact, to our needs. At the time when we so I had this idea. I presented this idea to my head of product. He was really thrilled. He really believed in me, in our design team, sorry. And we started working on the version of the service blueprint, which we could adjust to our needs. So first of all, we decided that it will be really helpful to visualize B2C product processes, some of these processes, B2B product processes. So this is the part of the product that we were working on. Also, we demonstrated the legacy system processes or parts of the flow that influences our product. And also here we illustrated company departments processes, because we also demonstrated here what PO, what tribe is responsible for digitalizing this process of this particular company department. For example, the company, for the department who is working on with these vendors, with these people who are we making product for, or for example, sales or customer support. So we first of all, we created these kind of blueprints where we understood what we want to include in our artifact. After that, we started thinking what to include, like about the details. So in the B2C part of the product, part of the blueprint, we included evidence, customer journey, and front stage actions. So here we illustrated what our end user has to do on our B2C product, and how these actions influence our B2B part, and vice versa. What should we do to ensure this experience for our for what business have to do to ensure this experience for our end user. Also, for the legacy system, we included the parts as backstage and support processes, because first of all, this was like our support system. In company and departments part, we illustrated employees' actions and backstage. And in our B2B product, again, I was the lead designer on B2B part of the product. So that was like my tribe. Here we illustrated the evidence where our vendor, my users performs their actions. What did they do, the customer journey, and the front stage, what they interacted with. And this is the template we used. We spent around 1 month or 1.5 months working on this artifact, and we that was like constant workshops and alignment sessions where we gathered all our stakeholders in one room. They start arguing, they start even screaming at each other, so it's okay, it happens. And then we understand, okay, this process is not set up properly. It's okay, we understand it, but at least you understand it too, and you know that you have to work on this process right now. So I could say that this artifact really helped us. And also you can see that we added to this artifact tribes pages. So we understood that, for example, my tribe is working with this company department. We have to digitalize their part of work. And the tribe from another PO has to work with this company department. For example, I'm working with sales, they are working with the customer support, they are working, the third tribe is working with the analytics department and something like that. And by the way, here we marked automated and manual processes with like pages. And it turns out that 3 months before launch, we had like 90% of our processes that were manual. But at least we had a huge backlog, and it helped us. And as far as I know, also these artifacts were used for onboarding the new employees. So the results are, we aligned our product owners. They didn't they were not arguing anymore, at least not for this reason. We had aligned stakeholders. We defined the weak points. In our case, it was manual processes. We had artifacts for the new employees onboarding. We also had, and that was really a great experience for designers, because all designers love workshops, you know that. And yes, it was a huge win for us. Yeah, and when it comes to release, remember that we had to have first release in the mid of June. Some problems may pop up. So what to do if the feature is too big for one sprint? What if the other features are too small to fulfill the whole sprint? What if some features are related to components but not to the whole screen? And what to do if developers got lost in branches? So Spotify answers to all these questions with their great idea of using feature toggles or feature flags. So this visualization could help you to understand what is this in general. So developers could use these same branches with code, but they simply put this feature toggle to off, and this feature won't be visible on prod, but still this feature will be already delivered. So for developers and for the whole team, that was a great success. But how about the designers itself? That was really complicated for us because we had to control our design versions somehow. We had to create documentation. Remember, we didn't have business analysts in our team, and we had to always have source of truth. Why it was complicated? Because of course we were working on some features that had to be delivered like after 2 or 3 weeks. Okay, we were working like ahead of our developers. Okay, so how we managed to solve this problem? So we had all our iterations and updates in InVision. We had all UX documentation and links in Confluence. All our screens for development, all the screens that were approved for development in this particular sprint were stored in Zeppelin. And we had the design library and all sources in Abstract. So I understand that this might be not the perfect configuration because we had to use 4 different tools, but still that was working for us, and it was kind of a win for our design team. At this particular time, there were already 4 or 5 designers. So this approach still worked for us. Yeah, at some time of our project, we understood that we didn't know what our main goals. Okay, we all knew that we have a big launch at September 1st, but what are we going to do after that? So to solve this problem, we use the objectives and key results. I believe everyone in EPAM knows what are the OKRs. So this is the framework for defining and tracking objectives and outcomes. LinkedIn, Twitter, Google, Uber, I believe too, a lot of different companies use these OKRs and they are really productive and useful. So how to use them for designers in Spotify? So these are like my recommendations. Set OKRs together with your squad or tribe. You better not have OKRs special for your chapter. I mean, for all designers or for all QAs, it's better to set these OKRs with your team. And what is also important, that you set these goals together with your team. It's not the product owner who just come to your meeting and say, okay, we have to achieve this, and this. In this situation, you may not be really so motivated to achieve these goals, but when you set these goals together with your team, you will have this feeling of ownership and you really will be motivated to achieve these goals. Yeah, OKR must be provided by a team, not a manager. No special OKRs for the chapter only. I already mentioned that. And make all OKRs visible for the team. In my situation, we displayed all these OKRs on a big wall, and we saw these OKRs every day. And yeah, like once bi-weekly, we had a meeting where we discussed these OKRs and our progress toward them. So that was really a win regarding the OKRs and the goals. At some time of working on our project, the new question popped up to our heads. So we already had 5 designers. and we asked ourselves a question: can designers be a separate squad? No. Spotify Product Management Framework tells us that no, we can't be a separate squad. You could be just a chapter, but still we were, but in a shadow mode. Why in a shadow mode? Because our head of product was against this. And I understand him, I understand why, but still, why we were a separate squad? Because some goals for designers only. Our products were delivered. We deliver our product in a very fast pace, so we couldn't really tell, or we couldn't really tell to our team that okay, now we have to pause our work on these flows, because we have to do the design library. We have no rights, really have no rights for that. It's not like someone told us not to do this, but we understood that we have to deliver. We had to deliver these flows, we have to deliver these screens, but still we understood that we already have 5 designers, so we have to have this design library. So that was the goal, which was set only for our team. So that's why we, to some extent, we were a separate squad. All resources were shared with all designers. Major design decisions were made in a team, and we had autonomy. We were free to choose what tool we want to work with, what feature to do, what feature we recommend to do next, and all the, and so on and so forth. Yeah. So this is the visualization of a relationship between product owner, designer, and dev team. First of all, designer has to communicate with product owner regarding the requirements and the priorities and all the different stuff related to the product. And after that, designer has to communicate these priorities and requirements to the development team. But where is BA? So in our configuration, it was expected that product owner will perform the responsibilities of the business analyst, but unfortunately it wasn't a case in my tribe. So we didn't have BA. So how we managed this situation? So we had to do more design screens and states, because when you don't have ability to document something, as a designer, for me as a designer, it's easier to create one more state to illustrate my requirement than to create the documentation. Of course, we had documentation, but it was a very simple one. Also, designer had to communicate requirements to the team, of course, together with product owner. Designer created documentation, but it was like very simple documentation where we just described what should be done, what should be done, and the links to our screens. And we had to create some parts of the user stories, but that was really simple user stories. So for our project, for our product, that was this situation was a win. We didn't have business analyst, but designers cover part of his work. So one of the questions is how to collaborate with PO. Our head of product believed that product owner and designer has to collaborate very closely. And how we collaborate in our product. So product owner makes strategic decisions because this is his or her responsibility as a product owner. UX, user experience designer, always keeps user in mind, because this is our responsibility. Since product owner operates company resources, user experience designer has to set a great a relationship with this product owner, especially if product owner is from the customer side, because since this product owner has access to company resources, then this product owner could ensure you with access to real users. So you have to collaborate with him very closely, and you have to build trustful relationships. You have to communicate the importance of user experience design and research to your product owners. So this product owner will let you do all your designer stuff and workshops and all this fancy stuff. So a user experience designer must know strategic direction of the company to be able to plan research activities and improvements in advance. It's very hard to know the strategic direction or to know the roadmap when you are in a startup. At least for us, it was very complicated, but still, during all these close collaboration sessions with our product owner, we had at least, thanks to OKRs, we at least know what we will do in like the nearest months. And as designers, we helped our product owners to define the MVP. Yeah, one of the expectations from our head of product was that user experience designer must challenge the product owner, which was complicated in our situation because product owner approved our work. So it was only about negotiations, even if you want to do something. So even if you want to do some feature or some research, you have to prove the value of this exercise to your product owner. So it's not really about challenging, but it's about negotiations. So what I understood in this project that making compromises in user experience is really painful, especially for designers, especially for perfectionists, but it's still important for MVP because it's better to launch something. Nevertheless, it will be working not really good, but still you will launch something and you will have a chance to check your hypothesis with the real users. Then you will be working for 2 years on one project, and it may turns out that this project is not even relevant for your target audience. So that was a painful win. Why painful? Because we had to do a compromises, but still we understood why we were doing these compromises. So the lessons learned. Do not afraid to modify existing methodologies and approaches according to your project needs. I understand that it might be very scary to make some adjustments to the artifact that, for example, Nielsen Norman tells us how to do this artifact. But still, every project is unique and every designer is unique. So it's important to adjust this knowledge that you already know and adjust your approaches to the project that you are currently working on. Sometimes we have to accept not really good solutions because release is coming. Also, you must work hard to convince your product owner that UX is very important. You will earn more autonomy if you succeed. How I do this, I am trying to argument every design decision that I do, even during demos. I pay attention to if I'm asked about, for example, why are you displaying this, this feature here? I take time to explain all arguments that to explain all information that I know regarding this component, why I use this, what I know about this, what are my assumptions and all this stuff. You just have to explain everything you are doing. Also, know that other designers do, even if you have different parts of product. It's very simple because when you know what other designers do, when you know that other guys do, you could ask for their advice. You could use the results of their user researches, and this is very useful. One of the most important lessons learned on this project was that product owner is not a boss. This is the same part of the team as you. Do not be afraid of the product owner. Do not be afraid of telling what you like or don't like in your team, not in the product owner, but in your team during the retros, because by saying that, by telling that, you give your product owner and your team a chance to change something in their behavior or in the product approach. Sometimes designers can really save the process with artifacts that may look like just a simply only design artifacts. Always have source of design truth. Not all on-sites are equally useful. Yeah, I used to travel to on-sites like every 2 weeks, for 2 weeks, every 2 weeks, but not of them are equally useful. If you don't have users for testing, be creative. Ask your customer support. Ask sales managers who are working with your users. Yeah, and just try to come up with something, because it's better to have something than to work only with your assumptions. Sometimes it's just impossible to beat the micromanagement. Yeah, we had this issue with our product owner, but it's just what we had. We didn't have really a chance to change something. And yeah, if you are curious if will it work for your project, just ask yourself the following questions. Do you have autonomy and trust to your team? Because these are autonomy and trust are the most important feelings. Yeah, the most important items that you should have to your team to try to work with Spotify. What is your company culture and structure? Because not all companies are not all companies' culture are similar to Spotify. That could mean that you are not able to work with Spotify Product Management Framework. What about ownership? Spotify Product Management Framework, from my point of view, works better with startups where people have this great startup feeling. Are you ready to break the formalities? Because as I already told, Spotify is about simplified Scrum, and here you have to focus on doing work but not doing the this Scrum processes. And what is the size of your team? As I already mentioned, squad is from 6 to 12 people, and it's about the tribe. It's from 40 to 100 people. So for small teams, you just won't feel the value of Spotify. So I want to finish with my credo that rules are good, but these rules are still made to be broken, and don't be afraid to adjust the rules according to your needs. With this QR code, you could access the additional information about this Spotify, and that will be the end of my presentation, and I'm ready to your questions.
Right, great. Thank you, Yuliia. I have some great questions here, but we only have 3 minutes. Let's see how much we get through. So one question from the audience, Amit, he asked, what resources of information you had to gather for evidence? Did you validate any assumptions with users anytime during this process?
Yeah, unfortunately, we didn't have like direct access to our users at that point of time, because as I mentioned, that was a startup, and our customer didn't want the third-party vendors to communicate with their potential customers. So what we did, we knew that our sales team, not our, but customers, sales manager, were presenting our product. They were demoing our product to potential customers, and we knew that these potential customers gave their feedback and their thoughts regarding this product to the sales managers. So we just interviewed the sales managers. We had to deal with the situation that we were in. So we interviewed the sales managers and the customer support to validate our ideas.
Cool, thank you. A second question, do you know what's the reason Spotify reported that their framework doesn't work for them?
Yeah, I haven't heard about this statement. I just know that they decided to adjust their approach like lately, and now for sure that what I know, they don't have Scrum Masters, but they have agile coaches. And honestly, I haven't heard about this statement. If you do, please send me a link. I will read it. It's really interesting.
Okay, cool. One last one, I think. What did you use for tracking progress purposes? Is it still Kanban boards and Jira or something more specific?
Okay, yeah, we had Jira. And what was curious, we didn't have our like own Kanban board like I have on my current project right now. I have my own Kanban board and I'm having fun with it. But in this project, all tasks, both for designer, PO, developers, they were all on one Jira board. It works. It still worked, but it was really a little bit a mess. But we didn't even have a time to deal with that problem because that was not the main problem for us at that point of time.
Okay, great. Thank you. I think that's about the time we have here. For the audience who ask questions, please send us your email. Otherwise, we won't be able to know how to contact you for the prize. I think I really like the question about like, what's the reason Spotify report that this framework doesn't work for them.
Yeah.
So I think you're the winner, Anton. So please send us your email. All right, I think I need to end this session now. And there will be several, 3 talks and 1 workshop following. So please take a quick break and join us later. Thank you.